As a parent, there's nothing worse than watching your child's life hang in the balance, and more often than not, it's police officers who risk it all to save these precious souls. From getting a child to throw up the quarter he was choking on, to diving headfirst into ice-cold water in the middle of the harsh winter to save a drowning girl, here are 6 instances of cops saving children from dying. On Friday, February 16th of 2024, at approximately 4:28 p.m., Officer Dalton Schroeder and Officer Jason Wright from the Austin Police Department rushed to 6865 East US 290 Highway Service Road EB to respond to a check welfare urgent call. A child was choking on candy. With no seconds to waste, Officer Schroeder rushed to his vehicle and grabbed the anti-choking device. Meanwhile, Officer Jason laid down the kid, and together the two began to administer first aid. The family members held their breath as they watched the officers do their work. Fortunately, they were able to bring the child back from the verge of death. Thanks to the officers' swift actions, the kid managed to live through the horrifying experience, and it seems like he was grateful to his knight in shining armor, because look at him high-fiving the police officer after the ordeal. Weirdly enough, this kind of thing happens more often than you think.
Hold on. Let me see the baby.
On July 11, 2020, a family in the 36000 block of Waltham Drive was enjoying their night as usual when the unthinkable happened. Their 3-week-old baby girl had choked while drinking milk from her bottle and lost consciousness. Not knowing what else to do, the worried parents rang up the authorities, and Officer Karen Makwajeski was dispatched to the scene. Upon arrival, he met the distraught family in front of the house, and look at what happens next. The frantic family members surround the officer as they scream for help, but Officer Cameron maintains his nerves. He calmly takes the baby into his hands while offering words of reassurance. He then performs back thrusts on the baby, and what happens next shocked everyone.
Hold on. Hold on.
The baby coughs up the obstruction and cries, a clear sign that the danger is past. It's clear that the tensions were running high as the mother broke into tears once she heard that her kid is okay. The baby was later transported to a nearby hospital by the Sterling Heights Fire Department for further medical checkups. Unfortunately for moms everywhere, kids will never stop swallowing things they shouldn't be putting in their mouths.
No. What else did you put in there?
On June 7, 2018, Deputy William Wheeler was driving down the streets of Tecumseh, Oklahoma when he noticed Victoria Terrell frantically waving her arms for help outside her vehicle. Curious, Wheeler stopped his police car and got out, and it's a miracle that he did because the situation demanded immediate action. Victoria's 7-year-old child, Chaz, was struggling to breathe due to something lodged in his throat. His face was completely red, and so Wheeler jumped into action. He patted the child's back, and before everyone knew, the kid coughed up a quarter. And just like that, Chaz was able to breathe thanks to his guardian angel.
What's he having? What did he take?
It was a sucker, but there was... Oh no!
A quarter.
A quarter, babe!
Is that it?
Can you breathe now? Can you breathe now? Is that all you put in there?
Call Central, are you clear?
Fortunately, these guardian angels don't back down even when their own lives are at risk. On December 17th of 2023, state police received a distressing call from a private property owner in the town of Cambridge. According to the 80-year-old, a girl and her younger sister had made their way onto the property and were playing on the frozen pond when they fell through the ice. Thankfully, the homeowner had been able to pull out the younger girl. However, her sister was not so lucky. And so, in the freezing waters during the harsh December, the girl remained trapped in the frozen pond. And so, authorities sprung into action. Time was not on their side. They needed to save the girl before the hypothermia set in. Fortunately, fate seemed to be on the girl's side as Trooper Michelle Archer arrived at the scene only 5 minutes after the call. In a moment of unmatched bravado, she grabbed a rope from her car and made her way to the pond. She tied the flotation device around herself and jumped into the ice-cold pond without thinking twice. Thankfully, she was able to brave through the waters and bring the girl back to solid ground who, much to everyone's relief, was making sounds, a sign that they had managed to save her before the unimaginable happened. The girl was later taken to the University of Vermont Medical Center in Burlington for further medical evaluation. Fortunately, our men in blue are equipped to deal with all kinds of situations in the blink of an eye, and this next police officer proved exactly that.
Hold on. I'm gonna keep doing this until fire and EMS get here, okay?
Oh my God. Did you put
I've been trained with.
On May 15, 2015, Marietta officer Nick St. Ong was called to an apartment on Franklin Gateway around 7 p.m. When he arrived at the scene, Kiana Dursey was standing in the parking lot with her grandmother in her arms. She had finished her bottle of milk when Kiana noticed her getting lethargic. By the time the authorities arrived, 7-month-old Ziona was turning blue. There was no time, and no one knew it better than Officer Nick. Fortunately, he knew just what to do, and fast. You can watch him administering first aid to the unconscious baby in the heat of the moment without losing his cool. He did compressions for 2 minutes while waiting for backup, and thankfully, his efforts bore fruit. Ziona cried after a few more seconds, and relief washed over the officers as well as the grandmother's faces. Following the incident, Ziona was taken to the hospital where she was given the okay. Leave it to our guardians in the force to act like heroes every day. Kinda like these two officers in our last case. On June 29, 2020, Louisville Metro Police 1st Division officers Noah Cole and Nick Green had only clocked in for work when duty called. The two officers were inside a gas station between the Russell and California neighborhoods when they were approached by a frantic man. He struggled to speak English, but the two officers present at the scene, it was clear that he needed their help urgently. And so they followed him outside to his pickup truck where they found his wife and kid in the back seat. Concern flashed across their faces when they discovered that the baby wasn't breathing. Without wasting any time, Officer Green grabbed the baby and performed CPR while Officer Cole called for an ambulance. Fortunately, Officer Green was able to revive the baby before backup arrived. The baby began to cry after a few thrusts, and the poor mom, who was clearly out of her mind, couldn't help but thank the officers profusely. That said, if you think you've seen enough cops acting like heroes, wait till you watch this next video.